Hi friends, this is Mainak Misra and welcome back to my channel. I repeat the same prayer that hope you and your family members are doing absolutely great during this pandemic time and you are taking care of yourselves. Today I will discuss with you a very important film, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, directed by Ahmir, Questlove, Thompson. 1969 and the contemporary time periods are reflected in Questlove's concert documentary Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. A piece of art is nothing but a piece of life. So it is quite obvious that art always reflects life. Contemporary social, economic, cultural and political conditions are reflected through an artist's work. Questlove's concert documentary Summer of Soul is based on 1969 Harlem Cultural Festival, which was organized in Harlem, New York at Mount Morris Park. It was organized during the same decade when John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr. were assassinated. The festival included musical performances, comedy shows, and speeches by religious leaders and activists. Many famous musicians performed at the festival, and all of them reflected the contemporary time. They showed their strongest support to civil rights movement against racial discrimination. Moreover, they sang the song of liberation, hope, and freedom. The pain, trauma, suffering, and struggle of black people were reflected in their music. For the first time in history, the word Negro was replaced with the word black. These great musicians showed the way of a new era and affirmed, yes, we can. One of the most important art events during that time was Harlem Cultural Festival. There was no entry fee and 300,000 attendees attended the event. It included musical performances, comedy shows, and religious speeches by religious leaders and activists showing support for the civil rights movement. The musicians who performed at the festival were Gladys Knight and the Pips, Sly and the Family Stone, the Chamber Brothers, Fifth Dimension, Mongo Santa Maria, David Ruffin, Max Roach, Nina Simone, Hugh Masekela. all these great singers. The comedians were Willie Tyler and Lester and Mobs Mably. The religious leaders and activists were Al Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson. The host and producer of this festival was Tony Lawrence, who had great connections in New York City. The then mayor of New York, John V. Lindsay, attended the event. He was very popular in black community and carried out multiple anti-poverty and educational programs. So he was very popular. He attended the event. Tony Lawrence requested him. Organizing such an event with 300,000 attendees and so many famous musicians was a mammoth task, and Tony Lawrence did that. Black Panther Party provided the security, and Maxwell Household Coffee was the title sponsor. There was no proper lighting for this festival, so musicians performed facing the sun. The venue was so jam-packed that people even sat on the trees, and they came with their families and made the venue look like a family outing. People were selling foods, beverages, balloons and toys just outside the park. One of the festival attendees, Musa Jackson, terms it as the ultimate black barbecue, and it smelled like Afro sheen and chicken. The producer and director of the festival, Hal Talchin, filmed the entire festival, which turned out to be a footage of over 40 hours. He tried to sell it, referring to it as Black Woodstock, but unfortunately he could not get any buyers. Apart from 2 television shows, 1 hour each, on ABC channel and CBS channel, the footage was kept in the basement of a building for over 50 years until Questlove was approached for making this film. The destiny is that the contemporary musical event Woodstock was a very big hit, but the footage of Harlem Cultural Festival was kept in the basement of a building for over 50 years, and its impact did not see the daylight. The musicians showed their strongest support for the civil rights movement, and the pain, suffering and oppression of black people were reflected in their music. They all grew up and lived amid social injustices and racial discrimination. Black citizens did not have voting rights, and they were not considered for jobs. There was a disproportionate allocation of black soldiers on the front line for the infamous Vietnam War. Under these extreme circumstances of suffering, it was quite obvious that these oppressed citizens would raise their voice and protest. These musicians showed their support for the civil rights movement against racial discrimination, not only in the United States but all over the world. They showed their strongest support, unconditional support to all the oppressed people that included Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, Latins, Africans, Asians, Black Panamanians, Cubans, all these oppressed and racially discriminated people. They showed how to march on amidst the greatest of difficulties. The atmosphere of the festival and the emotion of general public were, yes, we can. This is a new world and this is our world. But these musicians and religious leaders echoed not only the language of protest and mourning, but also the sentiment of hope and enthusiasm. Amidst the darkness, they sang the song, "Let the Sunshine In." They dreamed of a new world which will be based on equality, justice, and progress. Black America found solace in the Gospels that worked as a therapy for the stress and trauma that they had undergone each day. Great gospel singer Mahalia Jackson echoed the same sentiment and showed strongest support against racial discrimination to civil rights movement. Their music showed that the voice of the beloved Lord is filled with love, peace, and non-violence. The basic principle and the most important aspect of the great religious leader and activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was non-violence. Nina Simone had an exceptional voice which was filled with both mourning and hope. They showed that you can be in problem, but there is no denying the fact we have to march on amidst difficulties. We have to go forward. There is no looking back. And during the same time, there was a major event, moon landing. For the first time in history, humans were able to set their feet on the moon on 21st July 1969. Neil Armstrong famously said, "One small step for man, a giant leap for mankind." But Black America was not interested in that. They were undergoing punishing poverty, lack of education, unemployment, drug addiction, these problems, health problems. Fred Hampton said, Black America has lost hope in this country. Ray Barretto said that we have to be together in this world and not on the moon. Even comedians mocked the moon landing. So even though it was a major event during that time, it failed to garner attention or enthusiasm amongst black citizens of the United States, and rightfully so. One of the most important aspects of this film is efficient and brilliant editing. It has added an extra dimension to the film, especially when the enthusiasm amongst white elite Americans and frustration amongst the poor black Americans were coupled during the time of moon landing is brilliant. And the film has covered so many events through the interviews of festival attendees, musicians, and religious leaders. Festival attendees like Musa Jackson, Dorinda Drake. Then we have religious leaders like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Charlene Hunter Gold, who actually protested and got the word Negro replaced with black. She worked for New York Times. There were interviews of musicians like Gladys Knight, then Billy Davis Jr., Marilyn McCoo, Mavis Staples. So all these events have been covered in the film, and the editing was brilliant. It was not an easy task. So the appreciation goes to the director Questlove as well. The film Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, won 2 major awards, the Audience Awards and Grand Jury Prize at the 2021 Sundance Film Festival. It was nominated for Best Documentary Feature at the 94th Academy Awards. It was also nominated for Best Documentary at the 75th BAFTA Awards, and it has received widespread critical acclaim and multiple awards all over the world. It is a very, very important film which deals with so many issues and it reflects so many things. So I hope that you have already seen this film. You should not miss this, and request goes again, please support my channel, press the bell icon so that you do not miss regular updates, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any comment, put it down below. If you want me to review or analyze any film, please let me know, and please take care of yourselves. The pandemic is not over yet. In many countries the numbers are surging, so please take care of yourselves, your family members, your relatives, your friends. And please do not forget to wear the mask. That is very important. As of now, thank you for watching this video. Until I make the next one, thank you and bye.